Diddy has been sentenced to 4 years and 2 months in prison, a $500,000 fine followed by 5 years of supervised release. Jaguar Wright and Gone Deal, the two people who witnessed firsthand how dangerous Sean Combs is, are finally speaking out, and they think that Diddy is lying. Jaguar says she has no sympathy for a monster and doesn't care if he gets attacked.
Well, they were saying that it might go until Monday. I was actually kind of surprised that it didn't, considering the show that they put on for the public. They put on such a lovely show.
That was a show.
Wouldn't you say?
That was a show.
There was a video montage.
Oh my God.
You would have thought it was like a retirement ceremony. Or, someone winning an award for, lifetime achievement or something. The way they sat there and the way they carried on and the way, especially when it gets to the point where lawyers are forcing themselves to tears or almost to tears, talking about how inspiring that deviant is.
Oh, man.
Kind of interesting.
All of the serious charges against Diddy got thrown out, and he got the shortest sentence possible. The federal guidelines recommended 9 years of prison time, but Diddy only got 4 years. This is the same judge who denied Diddy bail 6 different times. Now he's giving Diddy a shorter sentence and telling him to become a changed man. Diddy can never change. The only reason Diddy's kids spoke out in favor of him is that they depend on him.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not going to sit up there and judge anybody and what they want to do for their parent or their financial provider. Because I'm sorry, do any of those children have a means for earning a living outside of the Combs enterprise? I don't think so.
I mean, King Combs.
Doing what?
I don't know.
What's he do? Other than post on his dad's timeline and make music videos that I don't know that anybody actually watches. What do they do? What do any of them do?
Diddy's kids are completely under his control, and Diddy is forcing them to speak on his behalf. If Diddy goes behind bars, no one is going to hire his kids anymore. They don't have any other source of income. And let's not forget that almost all of Diddy's sons are involved in cases of their own. Who is going to pay their lawyers if Diddy falls?
Why do you think Diddy's kids spoke out publicly?
What choice do they have?
Even I think one of the sons did a rap, and he's like,
what choice do they have? When you're dealing with the kind of narcissistic control freak that Diddy is, and you raise children under that, the financial abuse for all of them is probably the worst. Because there's no way they can make money without him. He has them locked in. And if he falls, who's going to hire them? Who's going to fund them? Who's going to look out for them? No one.
Right.
No one. They're not fighting for their father. They're fighting for their survival. What they all gonna do? Go work at the Good Burger or the Wahlburger? What they gonna do?
Diddy was making over 200 calls a week while he was behind bars. The feds told the judge that Diddy was using his family to contact witnesses. Diddy would call someone from his family and ask them to add one of the witnesses to the same call. This way, the feds can't see who Diddy talked to and what they talked about. The only reason the feds even found out was after one of the witnesses reported the coercion.
$5 million at his disposal. Isn't that by nature the exact thing that they're worried about? If you have this much money that you could make this thing, you could probably make people disappear if you really opted to.
See, this is the thing. That'll just make more trouble. Why would he make more trouble now? He done already bought off and paid off everybody he possibly could. Have you looked at the indictment? Like, he called some witnesses up to 54 times.
Yeah, 200 and how many Angel? 200 something people.
Yeah.
He tried to reach out to.
Like, what are you running, a telethon or a telemarketing agency? Telemarketers don't make that many calls in one day. Or sometimes not even in a week, all depending on you was on that. You down for Diddy? Like, how does that conversation start? Hey, what's up? You know, I really feel bad about that last time I bashed you in the face with a Ciroc bottle. Look, we good? Like,
It's not just Diddy's kids that Diddy is forcing to work for him. Jaguar has named everyone that was working with Diddy. According to Jag, it's not just Diddy who is working. So why is he the only one going to prison? Diddy created monsters, and Jaguar is pulling back the curtains on all these allegations.
it's time for all of the victims to come forward. But for the people that have been denying it, you know what? Let's not be coy. You know, I am Jaguar. So let's just keep it a buck. Let's keep it a bean. Stevie J should be charged. Mary J. Blige should also be charged. Jennifer Lopez should definitely be charged. Should I keep going?
I mean, you're hitting it on.
Jay-Z should be charged. Khaled should be charged. Rick Ross should be charged. Usher should be charged and tried with him. Off of Justin Bieber alone.
Now, Carisha and Rick Ross just sat down together in an interview.
Yeah, I know. Two Diddy doo-wop bops. What a reunion.
If there is one thing that Gene and Jaguar agree on, it's that Diddy has no remorse, and he can never change. Diddy cried during his sentencing and submitted a letter to the judge telling him how sorry he was for his actions and apologized to all of the victims. In his letter, Combs describes teaching a class to fellow inmates on what I did to become a successful businessman, describing himself as a changed person who is now sober for the first time in 25 years. The old me died in jail, and new version of me was reborn. Have mercy on me, not only for my sake, but for the sake of my children.
Well, Jag, hold on. Diddy spoke to the judge before sentencing, and it sounded like he was taking accountability.
Accountability for what? Same kind of accountability he took after he told everybody Cassie was lying on him, and then he got popped on my birthday when the video came out on CNN. And then he had to come back and do the whack-a-doodle-doo.
Yeah, I guess accountability for what he got caught for.
How does now nobody not see that the apology he gave for Cassie after he called her a liar for months and said that it wasn't true, she was making it all up? How does nobody not see that they're the same apology? How does nobody not see that what he just did in that courtroom was no different than the monologue that was in Blink Twice?
No, man.
It's the same monologue.
Does it account for anything, though, that he started to feel sorry for his actions?
Sorry for his actions?
He's been sitting in NBC for you.
Actually sorry, do you think he would have allowed his legal team to destroy those women like that on that stand? See, you sat there and you let your legal team rip those people to shreds while they were barely being protected by the feds.
Diddy was let off the hook, and it's unbelievable to see why that happened. Gene said the same thing. Diddy got away with everything he did. He doesn't regret any of his actions, and it's only a matter of time before he's back doing the same things again. Diddy is going to get credit for time served, and he'll be out in a year or two. Max, he's even working on getting a pardon or joining a drug program to get even more time off his sentence.
What they call relevant conduct that you do in that stuff. And Diddy did a lot of he beat people, he drugged people. The judge even said this. You understand? The judge spoke about coercion. And no matter what the what you call them people, the jurors, you know, said and thought and everything like that, the judge spoke about his coercion, his relevant conduct. The judge spoke about, you know, mitigating circumstances, you know what I'm saying? A lot of the judge spoke about. You know, look at here. He got caught with drugs. Never got charged with the drugs. And the judge knew that. That's why the judge said relevant conduct. You understand? He got caught with guns. Guns in the house with the serial number. The judge knew that. You understand? Relevant conduct. You understand? That he didn't get charged with. The beating of Jane, hitting in the head, the assault, and all that stuff of Cassie. All those things, they probably couldn't. I don't guess they could have charged him with them, but it came up in the trial. All that's relevant conduct. You understand? And people don't understand all the things that he was doing. Then the judge made a point. When you go and talk to the managers and you talk to people about hiding evidence, you understand? Remember the fact in the trial when it came up that he gave a guy $100,000 and some thousand dollars or $100,000 to keep the tape that from cashing them? That's relevant conduct. Your judge was speaking about all that.
Gene's life has been in danger for years. He was targeted because of what he was telling people about Diddy, and some of Diddy's friends even went on record saying that Diddy had asked them to come after Gene. Why would Gene have sympathy for a man who tried to kill him?
Don't get me wrong, bro. I don't want to see a black man in jail. I don't want to see a black man in jail. But I don't care nothing about Diddy going to jail. That's a big difference to me. I never want to see a black man going to jail based on the circumstance, based on the situation, based on he may not have the legal team, because a lot of us get railroaded. You understand what I'm saying? A lot of us get railroaded. So I don't never want to see no black, you know, yo, that's what these cats gonna be saying. Yo, they want to see a nigga. Nah, bro. I fought to keep guys out of jail for 27 years. But do I care about him going to jail? Nah, I don't, bro. I'm sorry. God just gonna have to take that off my heart. But that's my enemy. He made it clear.
Gene's life has been in danger for years. He was targeted because of what he was telling people about Diddy. And some of Diddy's friends even went on record saying that Diddy had asked them to come after Gene. Why would Gene have sympathy for a man who tried to kill him?
Out of New York City, we are hearing Diddy's attorneys speaking to the media after he was sentenced earlier today. This is live.
Yeah, we are planning to appeal.
Man, I want to hear them, bro.
We are planning to appeal. We think we have strong bases to appeal. The strongest basis is that the jury reached a verdict on coercion. It found there was not coercion, and I think the judge said coercion today as a basis for a sentence at least a dozen times. We think that is unconstitutional. We think that a jury verdict should mean more than our jury's verdict seems to mean, and so we are planning to appeal.
Absolutely. File a cross appeal. What would happen in that regard if they filed a cross appeal and then could Sean Diddy Combs get a higher sentence?
He would not get a higher sentence, and they're not gonna cross appeal. We're gonna appeal. We think we're right, and they'll respond to the appeal, and it'll be decided by the Second Circuit as soon as.
Tell us about the conversation you had with your client after the sentencing.
Consensual. The judge clearly thought the sexual encounters weren't consensual.
Because he's biased.
Make of his remarks.
He's biased.
If anyone, I'm happy to go. So we think that's just absolutely inconsistent with the jury's verdict. I mean, the jury's verdict was resoundingly clear. There was no trafficking, there was no racketeering, everything was consensual, everything was adult, which is why he was convicted only of the prostitution offense. What we feel happened today was that the judge acted as a 13th juror,
Yes,
one
he
that we
did.
did not choose, and that he second-guessed the jury's verdict.
Well, at least the judge was open-minded. At least the judge.
Despite the fact that Diddy was basically let go, his lawyers have announced that they're going to appeal the decision. Diddy thought he would be let go on probation. He wasn't expecting any time in prison. So for him, even 4 years is a long time. To him, it doesn't matter that he spent more than 20 years committing crimes. He doesn't want to spend a second more in prison.
That happened in the R. Kelly case. Because if that had been properly addressed, this would have been addressed back then. These people have been working together, all in cahoots for all of this time. And it needs to all be addressed. I'm glad it's not just me anymore. I'm glad it's someone else. I'm glad there are other people who need to be heard. I'll be sure. I'm glad they're hearing him. Cassie, I'm glad they're hearing her. Kim Porter. Through, I'll be sure. I'm glad. Natanya Rubin, I'm glad. All of these things. So yeah, it's mixed emotions, but I just know when you pray for something and God answers it, you should be happy.
He has ties to Florida. We know he has ties to LA. Now we know that he has ties to Detroit. How many other metropolises in the United States has he been able to infect at the highest levels of government to be able to do his bidding? The Detroit judge saying, our good friend in New York gotta pay the bills somehow. Amen to that.
Diddy has been working with other criminals, and if the feds had actually investigated him, more names would have come up. What kind of RICO enterprise involves only one person? And who are the people he was sourcing and trafficking girls to?
And he goes to probably a halfway house. So he got off like a fat rat in a cheese factory. But for a dude like Diddy going to jail and spending all that time, you know, I'm not saying it's going to be rough or nothing like that, because his former president of Bad Boy, Kirk Burrows, with the federal jail. You understand? Lil' Kim with the federal jail. So, you know, because the type of dude he is, you know, he'll make it, he'll be all right. And plus they gonna send him to a camp, bruh. He'll be in somebody camp or somebody dormitory, whereas that it'll be real light for him. So, you know, he'll see the streets back again in 24 months. He'll be out within 2 years. It seems like a lot saying 50 months and everything like that, but it's not really a lot, not at all, bro. It's not a lot at all. You know what I'm saying? I know for executive, somebody who's been a jet setter, somebody who's been going all around the world, been in all kind of, you know, stadiums, galas, and living in mansions. You know, it's a lot of people who lived in mansions that's in federal jail. You know, you got Senator Melendez from Jersey in jail.
Is it really just a coincidence that dozens of people that Diddy used to work with are now behind bars? This goes all the way to the highest levels. All of these people have been working together, and they should all be sentenced. One person wrote on X saying, him asking the judge for mercy is rich considering he never once cared to provide same for his victims. His sentence was light, and knowing the music industry, he'll come out more famous.
Yeah, a lot of people look at it like this hasn't affected his pockets technically as far as just on the status level.
It's affected his pockets. It's just left him. He's still got enough to play with.
A lot to play with. I mean.
Yeah, for now. For now. They want him to go to New Jersey. They want him to go to Fort Dix, one of the weakest guarded federal penitentiaries in the United States. I know Fort Dix. It's a real nice place to take somebody. So when they finally get to go outside out in the yard, they can just get somebody to come and extract them right up out of there. You can leave and you don't have to worry about ever being held accountable. See, I'm not dumb. I ain't nobody's fool. being fooled these days. People like being lied to. They want to believe in the land of make believe. Diddy said sorry, and now we can all go home and have ice cream.
Diddy is still a billionaire, and frankly speaking, this sentence doesn't affect him in any way. He has even requested a prison of his choice. He wants to join Fort Dix's. Going to Fort Dix's is also a part of Diddy's plan. Fort Dix's offers inmates the option of joining the RDAP program. The RDAP is an intensive 500-hour, 9-month substance treatment program for inmates. Completing it could entitle Combs to as much as a full year's early release from behind bars. Yeah.
Diddy's conditions that he is going to have to follow when he gets out of prison have been released by the judge. This is not going to be an easy thing for Diddy to handle. He is someone that is used to traveling, used to doing whatever he wants basically, and now we know he is going to deal with 5 years of supervision when he finally does get out of prison. Obviously, Diddy cannot commit any other federal, state, or local crime, and he must not unlawfully possess a controlled substance. He also must refrain from any unlawful use of a controlled substance, and he must submit to a test within 15 days of release from imprisonment. Then at least 2 periodic tests thereafter as determined by the court. Diddy must cooperate in a collection of DNA as directed by the probation officer. The judge doesn't check here that he must participate in an approved program for violence because it's in another set of conditions that he actually already has to do this. Diddy also has a list of standard conditions that he is going to have to meet when he gets out of prison. You must report to the probation office in the federal jurisdiction district where you are authorized to reside within 72 hours of your release from imprisonment. After initially reporting to the probation office, you will receive instructions from the court or the probation officer about how you will report to the probation office, and you must report to the probation officer as instructed. You must not knowingly leave the federal judicial district where you are authorized to reside without first getting permission from the court or the probation officer. So that means Diddy is not just going to be able to get up and travel like he thinks without getting permission from the probation department. You must answer truthfully questions asked by your probation officer. You must live in a place approved by the probation officer. If you plan to change where you live or anything about your living arrangement, such as the people that you are living with, you must notify the probation officer at least 10 days before the change. You must allow the probation officer to visit you at any time at your home or elsewhere.
The judge has also released the probation conditions Diddy needs to follow after his sentencing. Diddy will be under supervised release for 5 years. The documents say he'll be required to attend regular meetings with his probation officer and refrain from drug use with a drug test taken within 15 days after his release and 2 periodic tests after that time frame.
Mark Agnifilo. You want to know what's funny? While Mark Agnifilo was sitting there making fun of baby oil and doing all of the stuff that he was doing in court and creating all of that nice guy hoopla, trying to get everyone to believe that Diddy is not such a terrible person and now he's a wonderful man and he deserves to go back to Madison Square Garden and he's going to be right there to cheer him on. Do you want to know where else he was? In Wayne County, negotiating with Derek Lee Cordello Smith.
Wow.
His victim.
Wow.
Why would he be in negotiations with him if he actually believed that everything that he said in that courtroom was true?
Sounds like a fixer.
Sounds like a fixer. A liar.
Boy.
You think I give a shit about that sentencing? Let me regale you. Oh. Wait a minute.
And as you're pulling it up,
Is it your testimony that you had your team of technicians at the crime lab who can and have manipulated evidence to place grapes not only on Derek Lee Cordello Smith, but other men as well, with the end result being they will plead because they have no choice. And they know you will get convictions because the SA victims in those cases are actually victims of Sean Combs and of the sexual slavery ring in Michigan. And guess what the witness's response was? So what? Yeah.
The biggest shock that Jaguar gave was when she talked about the one case Diddy couldn't beat. Jaguar somehow got her hands on the court documents of Derek Lee Cardell Smith. This man sued Diddy for $100 million and won. Now Diddy's team is trying to bury this. They don't want this to get out because it can affect Diddy's chances of being entered into the drug program.
You wanna know what's really funny though? You wanna know what's super duper funny? It just disappeared. Do you know what I thought when I heard it myself? I said, oh, it must have not been real. Because there's no way in the world this isn't gonna make it to that trial. You wanna know what's even funnier? Diddy went to that jail to visit Derek his damn self in 2024.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. Guess what name he was using to go to that jail to visit Derek so nobody would know it was him?
John Smith?
Brother Love.
Gosh.
What is clergy?
Damn. This is what this is very wild. What made you?
That's where he went. Just a couple of days before HSI raided all of his properties. You mean? What do I think about the powers that be? What you want me to think?
Oh, wait.
It wasn't just Diddy's lawyers that were trying to get Derek Lee Cardell Smith to stay silent. Diddy visited the jail that Derek was being held in and allegedly spoke to him about the trial. It's likely that Diddy was trying to get Derek to rescind his case, but Derek didn't do that and instead won.
Just 3 days after Diddy was sentenced to over 4 years in prison on prostitution charges, President Donald Trump seems to confirm he's heard from the mogul's legal team. The comments coming Monday from the Oval Office as reporters asked about a pardon for Jeffrey Epstein's accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell, who's serving 20 years for child sex trafficking.
I wouldn't consider it or not consider it. I don't know anything about it, so but I will speak to the DOJ. I don't know. I mean, I'd have to speak to the DOJ. I'll look at it. I have a lot of people who have asked me for pardons. I call him Puff Daddy has asked me for a pardon.
I love Diddy. You know, he's a good friend of mine. He's a good guy. I think he's a good guy. I'm going to stick up for him.
Trump and Diddy's ties go all the way back to the late 90s. Diddy was reportedly a guest at the president's 2005 wedding, and they ran in the same social circles.
One mogul after another. It's mogul time.
It's your boy Diddy.
ET's cameras caught them together at this New York charity event in 2008.
The only way Diddy can escape is with a pardon. Now the next step is Diddy being pardoned or his trial getting dismissed. Believe it or not, but even this could happen now. 3 days after Diddy's sentencing, President Donald Trump confirmed that Diddy's team had reached out to him for a pardon.